Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where you are, and welcome to the Elenos Group webinar on Meet the BE Customer Service Team. I'm your host, Chuck Kelly, and I'm so delighted to have with me our special guest, Mr. Andy Barry, the head of customer service for Broadcast Electronics, and that's part of the Elenos Group. Welcome, Andy.
Thanks a lot, Chuck. Great to be here.
Full disclosure, Andy and I worked together at Nautel for a number of years when he was the head of customer service and I was the head of sales. And it's good to be working with you again, my friend.
Yeah, you too. You too, Chuck.
So here's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about the $1 million question. We're going to ask the question, who are the Elenos Group companies? What BE customer service is all about? We're going to talk about who's who in customer service, identify some challenges and how we're working to overcome them. Talk about some tips and tricks that you can use to get the best out of the customer service experience. We're going to talk about how we use new technology to help you with your technology. And then we're going to take your questions. And to that point, as part of the GoToWebinar interface that each of you as listeners are having there, you'll notice that there's a questions button on the interface. And you can pose a question at any time. And at the end of the webinar, Andy and I will do our very best to answer all of your questions. And if we can't reach them all due to time constraints, well, I will make sure that each and every one of them is answered via email after the webinar. Do remember that watching this webinar qualifies for a half a credit towards SBE certification under SBE recertification category number 1. So the $1 million question, this is something we've started. It's a feature now of our webinars here with Broadcast Electronics and the Elenos Group, where we ask a question right out of the gate that maybe it's a little bit more difficult. But I want to ask you, Andy, why the Elenos Group? Why Broadcast Electronics? Why did you come to these organizations and take on this mantle of head of customer service?
All right. So as you mentioned, you and I used to work together a couple of years ago, and you know what? I learned an awful lot about this industry there, how it works, what matters most to customers in different segments, different parts of the world. And besides working at Nautel, I've worked in the mobile communication space, medical equipment, IT, finance, manufacturing. And through that all professionally, I built my entire career around helping customer service teams become the very best in their industry, and then finding new ways to help them become even better. So the main reason I'm here now at BE is because I see some very exciting opportunities. BE itself has a pretty incredible 60-year history of building outstanding products and providing excellent service to their customers. And even with all that history, there's still a lot of new ways to freshen things up and modernize the way we work. And when you add in the cutting edge design and engineering of Elenos and ProTV and Itelco, this new beginning is really something that I want to be a part of. And of course, you throw in the opportunity to work with you and Peter Conlon again, and that's all pretty hard to resist.
Those were good days, and we're having fun again.
You got it.
Creating new realities. So let's ask the question: who are the Elenos Group companies? Well, of course, the primary organization, the largest organization in the group, is Elenos, which makes efficient, reliable FM transmitters and has for 42 years, and they're located in Ferrara, Italy. In Itelco, makes a wide range of UHF and VHF transmitters for 57 years. They're located in Orvieto, Italy. ProTelevision makes RF modulators for more than 50 years. They're in Copenhagen, Denmark. And of course, Broadcast Electronics in Quincy, Illinois has been making AM, FM, and now TV transmitters, and the Audio Vault as well for 60 years, and they're still located in Quincy, Illinois. And between all those organizations, we've got a total of over 60,000 units in the field. So, Andy, your charge is as the face of the Elenos Group for North, South, and Central America. You provide the service and support for all of those products in the Americas.
Yes, sir. The whole thing. It's a great challenge. It's a great opportunity. It's good stuff.
So you've come into the BE customer service team with some guiding principles. Why don't I let you talk through these?
Yeah, sure. Thank you. And I think the first thing is to note that these are guiding principles, right? What we're not talking about, these are not procedures, they're not hard and fast policies. These are meant as touchstones for my team and myself to use in very fluid and unique situations with each one of our customers. So, being customer focused. What does that mean? Lots of customer or companies say they're customer focused. In my experience is that most of the time that means focusing on customers as a source of revenue. To me, it means being centered on the customer. So literally putting them at the center of decisions and working to make things easy and as seamless as possible for them. So when the team and I discuss better ways to work, the first question is always focused on the impact to the customer's experience. So,
It's kind
if
of
we make a
empathy, isn't
change, how does
it?
that affect the customer?
It's kind of empathy, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, it absolutely is. Yeah, and so that brings me up to the next principle, designing things from the outside in. We're we're starting with customer needs and expectations, and then designing workable processes around that. So, I think a great example is the way we handle email now. Email used to come into a mailbox that between answering the phone or processing orders, someone would eventually, check that email box, respond to whatever was in it. But if things got busy, then it was really easy to lose track. And that's totally understandable. But the real impact of that is that you can leave customers wondering if that email even got to the right place, did anybody looked at it. So now what happens is that all emails come in, they automatically they automatically create a support ticket, and an email with a link to that ticket is immediately sent back to the customer. It acknowledges that we have it, and it gives a timeline when someone's going to be in touch. On top of that, internally, we have timers set on every one of those new tickets that alert people. So if a certain amount of time passes without action, then the group's manager is directly emailed. And then if that still passes a little while later, that ticket comes to me directly. And happily, it's really rare that anything ever gets to that point.
That's great.
Mhm. Uh, Customers are real people with real lives. So I've worked with a lot of customer service teams in a lot of different environments. And one thing that I've learned across the board is that, believe it or not, customers actually don't call simply to annoy you. They don't call in order to complain or in order to demand. They don't call because they're angry people who just need somebody new to yell at. They call because something's gone wrong and they need help. And one of the things that I'm really proud of this particular team for is that they really understand this. They get it. A lot of our techs have worked in radio stations as engineers or program managers, or they worked with high pressure bosses or high pressure timelines, and they understand the pressure that customers are feeling. And they really work hard to find the best ways to minimize the pressure on you.
I think that's spot on, Andy. I think that there's no time period as difficult as the time you're off the air. A microsecond or a second or 10 seconds off the air can seem like a lifetime.
Yeah, you got it. Yep. Um, and doing what's right for the customer and fair to the business. So regardless of the situation or whatever our existing policies or processes might be, every member of the team knows that they're empowered to do what's right for the customer in any given situation. And if they aren't sure, they know they can always come to other members of the team, including me, to figure out the best way forward. And so as general rules, the best things that we can be doing to support customers is to be knowledgeable, to be efficient, be accurate. So we're going to be, we know the right thing to do, we do it quickly, and we do it the first time.
It's not
And I
just
think,
a play on words. It's how we live our lives.
yeah, absolutely. It really is the way we work. And and I love this part. We can't make it so that problems happen, right? And we can't make it so the problem never happened. We can't make it so that people don't feel pressure. But I think what we can absolutely do every time, every interaction, every time we're working with a customer is make things easier. And when you're having a bad day, we want to be the best part of it. We can't make it all go away, but then I want to make sure that we're the best part of your day.
Great.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your team.
Well, here's a lovely family photo. I'll introduce part of the team here. It's not the entire group, but this is who we had working in Quincy that day. So from left to right, we have Hector, who manages our studio and audio vault tech support team. We have Charlie in the green standing next to him. He's one of our studio technicians. Next to him, yours truly. And then coming up, we have Melissa and Susan and Marcia and Tina. And these are the ladies who, answer that phone call, but they also look at taking those orders and shepherding them all the way through from the time they're in the system to the time they're at the door. And kneeling out up front, we've got Rick, who's the manager of our RF tech support group.
Great team.
Yep. And so we've got these folks that are on the front lines, on the phones, email, working with customers. But behind them, we've got a fantastic entire company to support us. So just to run through, so for the order processing side, supporting them, we've got our shipping and receiving groups. So those are the folks who receive the parts that you send back in under RMA for repair or replacement. They get them into the system so they can be tracked and cared for, and then they make sure they're properly packaged and shipped out so they get back to you quickly and in pristine condition. On the procurement side, we make and assemble most of our BE components, but they still rely on bought out pieces. So that procurement team keeps an eye on stock levels, making sure we have what we need when we need them, helping us keep prices as competitive as possible. And then we have our finance group who handles all of our billing and financing questions and making sure that we can get those orders processed quickly. On the RF tech support side, we've got our test and repair techs. So every part that comes in for repair or evaluation or refurbishing is worked on by the very same folks who actually build the original product. So the guys who build the transmitters, the guys and ladies who build the transmitters, are actually the ones who are working on the parts when they come back. So every part goes through the same tests, burn-in periods, quality checks that new transmitters go through, and it's by the same folks who know their stuff. Sustaining engineering. This is so important. We've got, with a 60-year history, we have a lot of old workhorses in the field. So, modules though that we built even 6 or 8 years ago may no longer have parts available from our suppliers, and they may no longer be able to get a resistor or other piece that's on the original design spec. So this is the group who has the job of finding replacements, designing solutions to integrate them into existing products and making sure they work properly.
That's a good point, Andy. I mean, when you talk about 60 years of history, I suspect there's people in our listening audience that don't know what a cart machine is or a turntable. And yet we made all those things in big old rotary fader consoles.
Yeah.
There are people that don't know about those, but we still do our very darndest to support those.
We still get calls on them. Yeah, it's wonderful stuff. Coming up, just bringing up on that one is the product management group. So they've got the job of conceiving and designing new, better products to suit the market needs. So, and they also look at building new features, more efficient designs for existing product lines. Mm-hmm. On the studio support side, our studio software is industry-leading stuff, but no software is perfect. You can test for every potential scenario, but you can't get them all. And so this is the team who analyzes software issues, tries to discover root cause, builds the fixes into new releases. And then we have the studio product management team who looks at building new software, introducing new feature sets to meet those evolving demands.
Great.
So on the part side, some of the service options that we offer, we've got a number of ways to handle your out of warranty needs. So first up is repair and return. So this is you let the magic smoke out. You need to put it back in. You're sending it to us. We tend to hit a 10-day turnaround on our BE products. We actually usually beat that. Now, because we're supporting all of the group products around the world now from North America, we're running a little longer on the Elenos and the Itelco products, but because we're doing those repairs right here in Quincy now, and we're learning more about what we need on hand. But we're getting really good at this. Excellent. Next up is we have There we go, our flat rate exchange. So this is a wonderful service option. It's an advanced exchange. So if you got a part that's not working right, and say you're off the air, you're low power, time is really of the essence. You don't have time to send it to us, get us to fix it, and we send it back. We'll do an advanced exchange. So if you call into us, we'll find out what you need, and we'll ship out a fully tested refurbished model. You can get that installed at the site and take out the old one, put it in the same box, and ship that other one right back to you. So no need for a return visit. Just use the same box, get it back to us, and we look after it that way. It's a really fast, wonderful option. Uh, if you're trying to get ahead of the game and you just actually want to purchase spare parts, nothing's broken. You just want to belt and suspenders this. We've got a great selection of fully refurbished, fully tested spare parts that we sell. Everything comes with a 90-day warranty, so it's a really good cost-effective option. And then we also, of course, offer the opportunity to purchase new parts.
Now,
Same 90-day stuff.
those first three options are primarily related to like modules or an exciter or a power supply, assembly. We're not, going to take back we're going to refurbish a transistor.
No. Yeah, you're right. We tend to work at the assembly level for that. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah. Well,
Yep.
we'll
Good.
do an IPA or a pallet. Sure.
Okay. Let's talk about how people can get the most out of their experience with dealing with our customer service team.
Okay. So I asked each of the tech support groups for some common tips that we can suggest to help make the support experience run more smoothly for folks. So on the RF side, I think the number one thing is to always have your transmitter serial number, model, and your call sign available when you call in for support. This way we can look up your information for you. At a minimum, even if you don't have your serial number, have the model and call sign, and we'll be able to look at your history and make sure we can start off running.
Cool.
When you're sending stuff into us, either for return and repair or anything that's coming back, always include your RMA number. Sometimes we'll get a mystery box that'll just have a part in it, and we're kind of left to try and figure out, where this might have come from and what might be wrong with it, why it's even here. So if something's coming in for repair, always include your RMA number, and if you can, put a description of the issue on there. We've got those notes, but it just makes it so much easier to get back to the repair techs. Always bring a multimeter with you to the site. At the same time, and kind of going along with this, depending on the transmitter that you're working on, bring a laptop with either serial cables or an Ethernet cable, so you can log in and actually see the extra GUI that's on there. And why this is really important is when we're troubleshooting, details matter. So there's a really good chance that we may ask you to take a measurement to check resistance, check voltage, or to look for specific readings from the UI. So if you're prepared, if you have all these things with you, it's going to make it a one-stop visit. And ideally, if you can be at the site, that just makes it easier. Right there at the point. Any information you need obviously is going to be there. You've got the right tools with you. And then along with that, again, details are so important. So if you can, always take a screenshot or even a photo, and you can email that to us or upload it through our ticketing system. Always take a screenshot of exact error message or exact alarms or alerts, so we can quickly isolate the issue. And this goes along with it. Any additional information about what may, corroborating or circumstantial information that might give us a clue of where we can look. Was there a storm? If you got ice on the antenna, did you lose heat or air conditioning in the at the site? Was there an AC loss? Any events that could help us? All that stuff is really great to know. we're in this not to, not to find fault or to, to lay blame for what happened. Our job is to help you get up and running. So understanding all the entire scenario is really important to getting things done quickly.
And then the same thing on the studio side.
Yeah, on the studio side, again, always have your call sign information with you and your software version. Now, our studio support is subscription based, right? So there's either a monthly or an annual support subscription that goes with it, and that gets you access to our top-notch support guys, but also incremental updates and fixes, extra information that's going to help you make use your investment better. So always have your call sign information with you when you call, so that we can double check your subscription, and also always have your software version when you call. We've got FAQs on our site that guide you to where you can find that the software versions, but that'll make all the difference in the world to make sure that we're getting you fixed up as quickly as possible.
Getting to problem solving as quickly as possible. Yep.
You got it. Application logs. So each of our programs, each piece of software has its own set of application logs, and then Windows itself always has an event viewer log. And this is such key information, because if you send that to it, that gives us a running chronology of of any error, but also different sorts of events. What else is running on the PC at the same time that may have been contributing to the problem? So getting those app logs and event viewer logs to us is critical. And again, going back to the focus on details, specific errors. We're gone from the days of the old Macintoshes where you just get the little time bomb that said, an error occurred. We've got very specific errors, and they mean stuff to us. So getting getting a screenshot, or again a photo, is perfect. Understanding how often do these things happen? Is this a one-time thing? Does it happen daily, always at 12 noon? What is the frequency? Is it repeatable? Could you actually reproduce it on demand? What other patterns do you notice? And also, just again, in terms of the environment that this is running on, were there any hardware changes, any other software changes right before this started? This is all great information to us, for us to know, because it's going to help us get you fixed up faster. Boy, the stuff that keeps me up at night. So we're doing a lot of great work. We're making a lot of fantastic improvements, and we're doing it pretty quickly. But even so, it's not perfect, and there are things that literally keep me up at night. One of which is maintaining parts for our legacy items. So again, with that 60-year history, more and more parts are being made of unobtainium, and finding ways to guarantee that supply, that's a challenge.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah. And along with that, keeping prices reasonable. The harder, it's supply and demand, right? The harder parts are to get. When you can get them, they are more expensive. So understand it. Trying to keep those prices reasonable. Some companies view customer service as a profit center. We don't. It's absolutely a service center. So we're not able to subsidize stations on their spare parts, and we have to be able to support our own existence. But we're not looking to customer service as a profit generator.
Okay.
Yep. And then knowledge sharing and common techniques. So in my experience, that having a consistent support experience makes all the difference to customers. People like to know what to expect when they call in. And we're all very sensitive to those differences. Well, last time I called in, we did it this way. This time we're doing it this way. This guy seems to be taking me down a different road. The challenge is, without scripting everything, how do you make sure that your team is always using best practices and covering every angle in an efficient manner? So that's a challenge that we're absolutely working on. And then communication throughout the order life cycle. Like I mentioned before, I don't want customers to wonder. I think that's probably one of the worst experiences that you can do. I don't mind customers wondering, I wonder how they do such a great job. That part's okay. What I don't want people to do is, I wonder what's happening to my order. I
Right.
wonder where my stuff is, right? So finding ways to keep customers in the loop and communicate as we move through our own work, and keeping it right there with us. So we're always on the same page, right? Prioritization. So, uh,
Triage.
so you mentioned that a second off the air, right, is feels like a heck of a lot more time, right? Time runs differently when you're off the air. Um, so the one of the things that we're trying to figure out is how do we consistently give top priority to customers who need us most, and making
Mhm.
sure that customers who are off the air uh, get top priority.
Yep.
And so understanding how to do that, that's we've got some things we're working on, but it's a challenge, and it's one of those things that is so important.
Yep. And
Right. So some exciting new tools that we've adopted. We had fairly recently, or earlier this summer, we had a fairly old PBX phone system, and it did the trick. You could make phone calls, you could receive phone calls. You had to be at your desk. Now we've replaced that with a new IP-based phone system. It's Microsoft Teams, so it's very reliable. It's accessible anywhere in the world. And so what this actually means is that our team can be anywhere in the building or anywhere in the world and still have the same functionality, the same ability to be in contact with and support our customers. Some other advantages there, which kind of goes back to the whole collaboration piece, is that integrated in this, our primary tool, we've got screen sharing, file sharing, video conferencing, so that the team can actually collaborate so much more effectively on tough cases, get advice from each other on different matters of expertise. And one of the opportunities that moving to this new system brings is some advanced call routing. So what I'm really looking forward to is once we are able to leverage this properly, we'll actually be able to see who's calling. Your info when you're calling in, your info is going to come directly to us. We'll be able to identify, or you can self-identify, is this an RF or a studio call? And I'm so looking forward to giving customers the ability to hit an off-the-air priority button, right? So when you're actually coming in, you don't even we're going to give you the opportunity to actually jump to the top of the queue to minimize that wait time when you're off the air.
that's great.
And yeah, it's going to be fantastic. So our new support engagement system. So we track everything. Internally, it's called the support ticket. So every time a customer calls, we keep a record of who's calling, what they're calling about, what the issue was, what we did to resolve it, were there parts that went out, all that sort of stuff. And we've always had this. Most customer service organizations do. But what's great about this new tool that we've adopted, that we've brought into the same tool. So we've got our issue tracking, we've put our FAQ knowledge base, our technical manual repository. It's all in the same system. The other thing is, we've really shortened the time to support by automating the ticket creation. So if you email in, or if you go onto the new website and log in, tickets are automatically created. You get an automated response with a link to the ticket. You click on that right in your email, and it takes you to the ticket itself. It's
If we're going to walk people through this so
yeah,
they can
that's right.
really see
Yeah,
how to do this. Yep,
yeah.
great.
Right. Something else that's nice, and I've heard it over and over again. Again, many places I've worked, people want to be able to see their history, their support history. So now you've got the ability to log in, and you can see every ticket that you've opened. And on top of that, which is fantastic, we can also give you on an individual basis the ability to log in and see every support ticket for any company that you're associated with. And so where this is really, really powerful stuff is if you're a contract engineer who looks after multiple sites for multiple companies, or say you're a technical director and you've got a team of engineers who support different call signs, all for the same company. But you can log in and you can see every support ticket, all the interactions for entire company or any company that you're associated with. It's very powerful. It's very handy stuff.
That's great.
Yep. So coming up in the works, because of these new tools and new technologies that we've adopted, we're working on ways to bring you that real-time order and real-time repair progress update. So as your order makes its way from being entered to picked and packed and shipped, or a repair is received, it's being worked on, we're making steady progress to being able to keep customers in the loop in real time and give them access to that information. Same deal, integration between our shipping and ticketing. Right now, when we ship an item out, we always include at least one email address. Whoever placed the order will get an email from UPS or FedEx with your tracking number. But we're looking at ways to get this into the ticketing system so that anybody who wants to know can easily know, and that information is easily shared.
That's great.
Yep.
Okay.
Right.
So what we're going to do now is we're going to switch over and take a look at this automatic ticketing system. And let me see if I can make this happen.
Right.
All right. Hopefully you can see that now. We are logged in to bdcast at .freshdesk.com. And I've already logged in as a customer.
Very good.
So tell me what you want to do, Andy.
Yeah, so a couple things to note here. So this is our new support engagement portal. So we are moving our knowledge base and our technical manual repository from the bdcast.com site over to this new portal. So what you'll notice here is our knowledge base and some frequently asked questions. The FAQs are available to anyone who visits this site. If you log in, you'll get extra functionality. So you'll be able to, look up your tickets, and you'll be able to get access to the actual technical manuals. If you're not logged in, you can absolutely see the FAQs and create a ticket, but you'll get that extra functionality if you've logged in. So I see you've already logged in. So I scroll up a bit to the top of the page.
Yep.
And if you could click on the tickets menu item. Thank you. So what this is actually showing you right now, so you've logged in with this test customer account, and what you're seeing right now is that any opener or pending tickets that this user has created. Okay. Now, if you go to where it's opener pending and select all tickets,
yep.
What you'll now notice is what you're able to see now is this the second ticket, number 39, which was actually created by a different user, but for the same customer. So this account has access to see all of the tickets and their status that have been open for this company. So if you just quickly click on the Order Spare Parts PSU on that link. So what you're actually seeing here is this is the chain of events for this particular ticket. It's open. So from within here, if you scroll down to the bottom, you could communicate directly with the support technician who has this. You could type in a response. You can even upload a file if there's logs or a screenshot. You can attach it directly there and put it in. This information goes immediately over to the ticket owner, and so we log into the site via a website, but there's also a fantastic phone application. So no matter where somebody is, one of our techs is, they'll immediately get a notice, and they can work directly from their phone with you. So again, don't have to be tied or chained to a desk to be able to help out here.
Perfect.
Yep. So I'll also show you while you're here. I'll show you how to open a new support ticket. So if you click on the new support tickets, what you'll see is it automatically populates with the email that you've logged in with. So what we'll do here is we ask you for some basic information, your call sign, description of the issue, and you can select the type of issue this is. And why that's important is because this ticket, once it's submitted, is either going to it could route to a triage group to make sure it gets to the right folks, or if it's a quote request or a parts order, it's going to go immediately into the order processing folks.
It's interesting here. That there's so much knowledge in our customer base. I'm always amazed at how much experience and good ideas our customer base has. They can actually submit an entry for an
Absolutely.
FAQ, which is
Yep,
awesome.
that's right. Yeah, yeah. There's a ton of knowledge that our customer base has,
Hmm.
and we're appreciative of learning that and supporting the broader community. I think it's
Crowd,
great.
crowdsourcing service.
You got it. Yes, sir.
Okay.
All right. So that's how you would submit a ticket. And I think the last thing that I'll show you, if you click on the solutions button,
Yep.
this our new site has a wonderful search functionality.
Hmm.
So in here, if you type in ETG, just look up, for a any manual, it's automatically highlighting everything with the keyword with your keywords in it. This is taking you to the user manuals,
Hmm.
and you can download them right then and there.
That's
So I think
great.
it's wonderful. Customers are loving it. Oh, while you're here,
Yep.
you'll notice also that there's a thumb up, thumb down. Did you find this helpful?
Yep. Yep.
If when you're in there viewing FAQs or manuals, you can vote up or down. And what this actually does is on the back end is the next time those keywords are searched for, this will move that article towards the top of the list. So we
Excellent.
can actually dynamically bring our most relevant information to customers.
That's great.
Yeah,
Okay. So let's go back to here. So
very good.
the key things in that, you showed us how to do a login and create an account, submit a new ticket, review the tickets you have, find a knowledge base article or an FAQ. So that's great. In general, the key thing about this whole webinar is we've got your back. We're supporting you for all the products of the Elenos Group in the Americas, North and South America. And we know how important it is to get help when you need it 24/7, 365. And so again, all Elenos Group products are sold in the Americas, are supported by trained, knowledgeable technicians at Broadcast Electronics. Spare parts stocks are maintained at BE in Quincy. We speak Spanish. I can't pronounce that part, but we speak Spanish in both of the RF service department and the studio team have native Spanish speakers.
Mhm.
And here's an important one. The buck stops here. If you need to reach Andy Barry, you've reached a level of frustration or something, that's his email address right there, folks. So just write that down. He's your customer advocate, and he's going to make sure that he does his very best to solve any questions that you may have.
Absolutely.
And speaking of questions, let's see what questions we may have. So right off the top, there's a question from John. What's the best way to get support for ProTelevision equipment? And call up Andy's department, call up the RF service team. He may not know the answer right off the top, but he can get it from the guys in Denmark and save you from having to communicate with them. Is that what you would answer, Andy?
Absolutely. Yep. The
Okay,
RF service at bdcast.com, or go to that website and create a ticket yourself. You got it.
there you go. Got a guy by the name of Sean who says, I've been a very happy customer since 1999, and he's very glad to see this renewed focus on the customer experience. So congratulations, Andy. It looks like your efforts are being appreciated.
Well, and thank you, Sean, for being with us, sir.
So if there are other questions, go ahead and type them in. If not, and if you do, and we don't answer them during the webinar, we'll get back to you after the email. And we want to thank you for your questions and your feedback. They help to keep the webinar relevant. And with that, we want to thank you so much for joining us today. We know how valuable your time is, and we're deeply honored that you chose to spend your time with us. And please check out our upcoming webinar schedule. Got lots of exciting webinars coming, including some really cool technological advances. I know you'll want to be here for that. For further information, contact your regional Elenos Group sales professional. And for Mr. Andy Barry, I'm Chuck Kelly, thanking you so much for being with us today. Thanks, Andy.
Thanks, Chuck, and thank you, everybody.